Hello everyone and welcome back to Just Finish Coding. I'm Sriram and this video is part 13 of our Geometry Dash game on Scratch 3. Now in case you've not watched parts 1 to 12, I will leave a card for you right here. So in case you're still here, then I want to congratulate you for making it all the way, because this is going to be the last and final video of this Geometry Dash playlist. Now what I will be doing in this video is completing the animation and also dealing with the sound effects and thumbnail. So let's start off right away. The first thing I will do is I will make sure that we have this little death sound effect once we lose. And to do that, you can head over to sounds and you can grab the sound effect which says start sound player death, and you can put it right before we broadcast player death and wait. Now as a result, when the player does die, you will be able to hear a sound. Now I could show that to you once we restart the game, but my sound effects are going to be muted and you could try that on your own laptop instead. Alright, so the next thing I will do is I will make sure when we end the game, everything basically goes to hide, because remember at this point our end screen is going to show up along with our player message. So it's going to show up just like this. In order for this to show up, we want everything pretty much to hide, and as a result we need to go sprite by sprite and add in a when we receive endgame hide, and this is what I'm talking about. So you can head over to events in the explosion and you can see when I receive endgame we simply hide. Now very simple, but we need to do this for every single sprite with the exception of the end screen, the play again and the thumbnail. And I'm not going to bore you through going and putting it into every one of these sprites. So I will do that quickly and then I will be right back. Alright, so I've just done putting this message into every one of those sprites except for the player, the end screen, the play again button and the thumbnail. So once you're done with all of that, you can head over to the end screen and start to do the real coding. So when we receive init, and this is at the start of the game, we're not really going to have any clones, so we don't have to delete the clone or anything. We're just going to simply hide, because at the beginning we definitely do not want the end screen to be showing. Now once we're done hiding, we also want to make sure that this is completely transparent, and to do that you can set the ghost effect to be 100. We also need to go to the center of the screen, otherwise this would look pretty distorted. So you can add in a go to x0, y0. Now this is going to be all we need to do within the init. We can do a when we receive endgame next. So, or actually let's start with when we receive endgame tick, because if you remember within the player, we first broadcasted endgame and then we broadcasted end screen tick. Now the end screen tick is going to be each time we're going to get more and more transparent until we're completely there. So that's going to be easier and I'm going to do it first. So when we receive end screen tick, and this should be right here, each time we're simply going to reduce our ghost effect by 100 divided by 20, and basically the negative of that. So you can change ghost effect by -5 each time to make sure that it slowly becomes completely opaque and visible to us. The end game is going to be a little bit more than this. So you can duplicate this block, chuck that second block, and you can see now when we receive end game, we want to make sure that we are right at the front player and nothing is in front of us. So to make sure that happens, we can say go to front layer and then we can add in a show to make sure this is shown. Now remember, it is going to be shown to us, but it's going to be completely transparent, so we're not really going to see it, and that's what makes this end screen tick slowly show it into the screen. We can hit the green flag to show this, and you can see that our end screen makes a pretty good appearance, and when we once again press the green flag, everything's pretty decent. I mean, the end screen is totally hidden. Now next we can get into the play again button, and this is going to be pretty simple as well. So once again, let's start with when I receive init, and this time just like the end screen, we will not be having clones, so we can just hide the sprite at the beginning. Now once we're done with this, we can get into the when we receive play again, because we don't really need to do anything for the play again button, either when we receive end game or when we receive end game tick. We're simply going to show it when we receive show play again. So let's head back into the sprite now, and we can see when we receive show play again. In this case, just like the end screen, I'm going to add in a go to front layer so that this sprite goes in front of the end screen, and then I will show myself. Now the button itself is meaningless unless we can do something when we click on it. So basically you can grab a when sprite is clicked, and when the sprite is clicked we can broadcast first of all, broadcast and init and wait. So broadcast init and wait, and then we can broadcast start game and wait. Once again, both of these need to be a broadcast and wait, otherwise you're going to get into some errors. So now remember, within the stage, everything starts when we broadcast init and then broadcast start game, and we're essentially doing the same thing as what happens when the green flag is clicked. Now perfect, we can test this out once again quickly, and you can see that the play again button finally shows up. When we press the play again button, we go back into the game and the cycle repeats itself. Now this is great, and what I'm going to do now is, before the thumbnail, I'll add in the high score as well as the final sound effect. So as far as the high score is concerned, it's actually pretty easy. You can head over to variables, say make a variable, and you can actually click on this checkbox which says cloud variable. I'm going to call this variable high score just for simplicity's sake, and you can click OK. Now we need to make sure that this variable is also shown and hidden, just like the score. So you can say show variable high score here, and you can also hide it when we hid the when we did hide the score variable. I'm not entirely sure where I did that, so I will look for it once and be right back. Alright, so as it turned out, I just made a small mistake and I hadn't actually coded that part yet. So that's going to be in the thumbnail, which I just mentioned I will do later. So I kind of messed up there. So what you really want to do now is to get the high score to be on the other side, and you can just add in a show variable high score here. Now remember that the high score doesn't have a value yet. So what you can do is initially, set high score to be something like 100. Just click that block to make sure it executes. And you can add in a simple if script. So you can check or within each tick if the score becomes greater than the high score. Now in case this happens, then what we can do is we can simply set the high score to be whatever the score is. So it's constantly updating and checking if the score is higher, which is great. So now the other sound effect is also going to be simple to add. We can actually add it at the beginning of init. So you can head over to sounds now, and at the beginning we of course want to stop all the sound effects. But once we have done that, I'm going to start the sound effect called Poltergeist. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce that, but I'm going to go ahead with it. We're simply going to start that sound. That's going to be, the game sound. You could add in you can add in a little more efficiency by making sure that once the sound is done, we start the sound again. I'm not going to do that because that sound is plenty of time to complete the game over and over, and every time we receive init, we're going to start the sound again. So that shouldn't be too much of a problem. So I'm going to actually stop with this code as far as the sound effects are concerned. And now we can actually go to our thumbnail. So you can click on the thumbnail, and this thumbnail code is going to be pretty simple. So first of all, this is going to start not when we receive init, but when the green flag is clicked. Now when it is clicked, I'm simply going to go to the center of the stage and I'm going to hide myself because we do not want to show the thumbnail unless the player has clicked on the red button, the stop sign. After we're done hiding, you can grab a forever loop from the control section, and you may think this would mess up your ticks, but it doesn't, since this is within the when green flag is clicked. And now you want to go to sensing, and you want to actually locate this block which says reset timer. Now the timer is something which is constantly on, and it's basically checking how long you've logged in or you're in this particular window. So we can reset the timer anytime we want. As you can see, I'm clicking on that block and executing it each time. In order to make sure that this thumbnail comes at the forefront, we'll basically be using the timer as a check. So in case this timer is not reset, then the timer is going to exceed, let's say, a start of 0.1 seconds. And when that happens, we're going to assume that it was because we pressed the stop sign and this code is no longer executing. And when that happens, we're going to show it in the front. So that's pretty much it. I mean, when we do press the stop sign, obviously the code stops executing, but that only has to do with the scripts. Now events would still work, and as a result, we can use this block which says when loudness is greater than 10, change that to when timer is greater than 10, and instead of 10, we can just use a really small number like 0.01. You can actually go even further, but this works for me. So each time this happens, we know that the red stop button has been pressed, and as a result, once again, we can go to the front layer. And once we've done going to the front layer, we want to hide the score and high score, which I was talking about earlier. So basically, to do that, you can head over to variables, say hide variable high score, and you can also hide variable score. Very simple. And finally, we can simply show our thumbnail. That's going to be all we need to do. So we can press the green flag, and we can press the stop sign to just see our thumbnail show up right in the front. Finally, to finish things off, we can head back into the player and make sure he starts at the beginning. So you can remove that set X to 6900 and set X to be back to -152. So now when we press the green flag, we can actually play our completed Geometry Dash game. And that's going to be all we need to do. I've had a blast making this series, and I do hope at this point you have a completely working Geometry Dash game as well. If you've enjoyed this game series, please make sure you click on the playlist on your screen right here, and that will take you to a brand new game segment. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next series.